Good afternoon. It is 4 p.m. We're bringing you the developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay. And here are the stories we're watching this stormy midweek, July 23rd. Some areas in Luzon and Visayas have declared a state of calamity due to the combined effects of habagat, severe tropical storm Wipa, or Krising, and a low-pressure area. As of today, July 23, government data showed 1.4 million Filipinos across 59 provinces affected by flooding. Pag-asa is also currently monitoring 2 tropical cyclones and a low-pressure area. Tropical depression Emong may strengthen into a storm and could make landfall over northern Luzon, while tropical storm Dante, this was the tropical depression just yesterday, may exit the Philippine area of responsibility by tomorrow night. Another LPA outside PAR could develop within 24 hours. Former President Rodrigo Duterte's defense team is asking the International Criminal Court to suspend the confirmation of charges hearing set for September 23. They cited supposed delays in accessing case-related information. This would be Duterte's second ICC appearance after his initial one on March 14, with the upcoming hearing set to decide if his case will go to full trial. Police Chief General Nicolas Torre III has agreed to a fistfight with acting Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte. Torre proposed a 12-round boxing match this Sunday at 9 a.m. at the Araneta Coliseum. He said proceeds of the match will go to the victims of severe tropical storm Krising and the habagat. Hard to tell if he was serious there. In other big news, a deal came out of the first face-to-face meeting between President Bongbong Marcos and U.S. President Donald Trump. And we're looking at a slight reduction in tariff rate for the Philippines from 20% to 19%. That's a 1 percentage point difference. While certain U.S. exports will not be subjected to any levies when they get here. That includes American automobiles coming into the Philippines. President Marcos does not see this development as more favorable to Trump's America, saying this is just how negotiations go. He said the tariffs for the Philippines going up from an earlier 17% is, quote, internal to the U.S. government. For his part, Trump believes this is a good deal, even calling Mr. Marcos a tough negotiator.
We do a lot of business with you. It's a lot of income coming in for both groups. But I was surprised to see the kind of numbers. They're very big, and they're going to get bigger under what we're doing and what we're proposing. It's tough. He's a very tough negotiator. So far, we're not there because he's negotiating too tough. In fact, I used to like him better than I do now. He's too tough. But we'll probably agree to something. But he's a strong negotiator. He loves your country.
Now, 1% might seem like a very small concession. However, when you put it in real terms, it is a significant achievement.
And here are some of the reactions to the U.S. conceding to a slight decrease in tariff on Philippine goods. Presidential sister Senator Amy Marcos says, and we quote, a mere 1% or 1 percentage point reduction in tariff rates for Philippine goods while having zero tariff for U.S. goods certainly does not look like a win for the Philippines. Senator Tito Soto called Marcos's meeting with Trump a most fruitful and productive visit, which the former Senate president said has direct benefits for the Philippines. Soto's 2022 running mate, meanwhile, and also returning Senator Ping Lacson, on the other hand, was not happy with the tariff cut. He said 19% versus 0% tariffs is definitely not the most fair deal between decades-old friends or allies like the United States and the Philippines. And Lacson added, it is the worst insult that a host can throw at his guest. It is time for us to look for other trade partners. Still on that press conference between Marcos and Trump, President Marcos downplayed fears that a U.S.-backed ammunition hub in Subic would provoke China. Marcos told reporters in Washington, D.C. that Manila has long been a target of Beijing and that the project is part of the country's long-standing strategy under the Self-Reliant Defense Posture Program. The president noted the project would move forward even without foreign help, but welcomed U.S. assistance. Meanwhile, President Trump said the Philippines had been, quote, tilting toward China before returning to the U.S. orbit under Marcos.
You had a country that was tilting toward China for a period of time, and I just don't think that would have been good for you. You can deal with China, you should deal with China, but when I got elected, everything changed and they came right back to us.
What we consider part of the modernization of the Philippine military is really as a response to the circumstances that surround the situation around the South China Sea and now what we used to refer to as Asia Pacific, which we have expanded now to the Indo-Pacific. And if we would certainly, like in any kind of military spending, we would wish that it wasn't necessary, but it is. And so that is what we are doing.
And joining us today, we've got Storycon's resident political heckler, Ronald Llamas.
Good afternoon,
Heckler
Reg.
na kasulat eh.
No? Welcome, President Bongbong.
Tawagin mo nga. And of course, from the Philippine Star Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pamintuan. Hi, Ami.
Hi, Ami.
Hi!
Dilaw.
Happy Wednesday!
Dilaw na dilaw ka. Kakulay na
Oh,
kakulay mo
ayan
yung
na,
Philippine
parang
Star.
sunny. Kahit sa damit man lang sunny.
Oo nga, parang
lakas pa rin ang ulan eh.
Parang colors ng
Lakas
Philippine
pa rin
Star
ang
yan
ulan.
Lakas pa rin. Halos mag-iisang linggo na walang pasok. Bukas wala rin
Kaya
pasok.
nga, kaya nag-sunshine color na ako. Ayan,
Wow.
oh.
Diba? Habang yung katabi ko, red na red, oh.
Oh, kailangan makulay,
Red-
di ba? Para
red na
medyo
red
konting
sa
saya.
galit. No, I'm
Oo,
kidding.
diba?
Malungkot. Pati yung news from the US, Ronald the heckler.
Nako,
Is he bringing home the bacon?
marami
Sige nga.
tayong pwedeng i-heckle
Mukhang-
today.
Mukhang nawala yung
Sige
bacon.
nga.
Mukhang pinamigay yung farm.
So in your view, he didn't bring home the bacon.
Well, yes. Dahil
Yung scrap ang hinuha eh.
una
Scrap.
17% na yan eh. Umakyat sa 20. Tapos bumaba ng 1. Tapos yung US, 0. Di ba? Parang hindi mas tama yung sabi ni Senator Ping Lacson. Na, of course, the devil is in the details. No? Kailangan tignan natin kung ano yung mga details na yan.
Oo nga. By the way, related to that, break ko lang, no? We just got this a few minutes before we went to air. The U.S. government announced 3 billion pesos in foreign assistance to the Philippines. So mukhang this is something that they worked out while President Marcos was there. So 3 billion pesos equivalent to $60 million, and that's going to go to energy, maritime, and economic growth initiatives, right?
Dami nun ah.
Oo, so
$60 million. Wala pa isang helicopter yun.
so
At saka di ba, Ami,
as-
dati meron naman talagang ganung packages.
under
500 million
USAID.
dapat yun.
Under USAID. Pero wala nang kasing USAID. So that's why
Yes, but still aid galing
Oo.
sa US.
But still,
Yeah.
and that's why si Secretary Rubio ang nag-announce ito because it's really his department. Tinanggal lang nila USAID, but this is still aid. This is still under his department. And as part of that 3 billion peso initiative, merong 825 million pesos that will catalyze private sector development in the Luzon Economic Corridor. Ito na nga din sinasabi natin the other time, which is parang nawala na yung balita around that, right? This was the Luzon Economic Corridor,
800.
25 million pesos. So medyo maliit lang.
Parang maliit para kumpara sa insertions.
Mas malaki yung kinita ni Pacquiao dun sa niya, sa bout niya.
Oh, more than 1 billion.
Oo nga. Yun nga yung nakikita nating memes online. They're saying si Pacquiao pumunta, natalo, but he brought home $1 billion.
Hindi naman siya natalo, draw naman.
Sorry, draw. And he was,
Actually,
some people are saying he was
sabi ng
robbed.
marami, panalo siya dahil
Oo.
na-knockdown niya.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, highlights at least kasi
Oo.
wala akong pay-per-view. But yes, it looks like the first few rounds, siya yung lamang until he was up, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, 825 million will go to the Luzon Economic Corridor. Finally, may clarity na around that kasi this was worked out during President Biden's time. Tapos it went quiet. We didn't know what was happening to it. And now this is the first indication that it's moving forward And then sabi din ng US in their press release, this is the first foreign assistance announcement. First announcement of new foreign assistance for any country since the Trump administration began its realignment of foreign assistance in January. So the Philippines is the first country receiving foreign aid from the U.S. government directly after it abolished USAID and all foreign aid.
Ang kwan lang
Hindi
kasi,
ba pampalubag-loob lang yan?
yun. Parang gano'n, parang
Kasi-
nasa frontline tayo
Hindi,
eh.
kasi pati yung sa China, look at the statement on China. Kaharap mo yung presidente ng Pilipinas, sinabi niya, si Trump ang nagsabi that he is maintaining friendly ties with China.
Yes.
And he will not get in the way of the way we deal with China, hindi ba? Di ba, pati yung Iron Club biglang nawala.
Hindi lang get in the way, he said, I wouldn't mind at all if the Philippines
Yeah.
had better
How you
relations
deal.
with China, right?
Kaya nga, ibig sabihin, bahala kayo dyan, hindi ba?
Yeah.
If you,
Yeah.
I mean, you just read you read between the lines, bahala kayo dyan sa buhay nyo. Hindi ba parang ganun yung message doon?
Oh, make America great again. Yun ang priority.
Sabi niya, make the Philippines great again.
Oh, pero
Was
it's
it-
up to
was
you
it
to
ever?
make the Philippines great.
Yes.
Kailan?
Diba?
I was talking to somebody who said, back in the day, the Philippine economy was the envy of Southeast Asia, right? Before Singapore even ascended.
Yeah, in the 1950s, 90s, after
So,
the war.
there was a time.
Dahil karamihan sa ating neighbors nung pala naging bansa eh. Kaya medyo nauna naman talaga tayo, di ba? Kung maalala
Kaya
mo.
nga. So there was a time, we just wasted it. Pero
Yeah. So we were great then.
make the Philippines
Kaya nga, di ba? Hindi ba pampalubag-loob lang yung pati nga yung if you're talking to a treaty ally, di ba you would have expected something more?
Yes. Especially,
Dun sa main issue natin, our only lone issue, security issue, external defense, which would have involved, which involves US involvement kung sakasakali lang.
yeah.
Di mo ba napansin, Ami, na parang patronizing yung kanyang mga sinabi ni Trump na
Oo nga,
he's a
para sa
tough
nakikipag-usap
negotiator.
sa TV show niya eh.
Very tough negotiator, no? I like him better. So,
Yeah, it's
sabi ko,
flattery.
napaka-patronizing naman.
No, that's just the way Trump talks.
Yeah,
he likes
yeah.
to flatter
Yeah.
Big,
people, right?
beautiful
Big, beautiful words.
President,
Para siya yung
big,
host ng TV
beautiful,
show niya, di ba?
trade.
And then,
ganun siya nasa TV host,
Hindi,
di ba?
pero iba kasi yung role
Yes.
natin dito sa region eh. Tayo yung pinaka-loyal sa kanila eh.
yes.
Yun na nga,
Rightly or
yun na
wrongly.
nga sinasabi
So,
ko, di
sana
ba?
naman lang, mas madagdagan naman yung tulong sa atin. Yun ang naman sinasabi ng mga critics dito.
And actually,
Yan na nga.
to Ami's point, at the start of the open forum, Marcos was describing the U.S. as the strongest, closest, most
Yeah.
reliable ally. I mean, those are very
Yeah.
strong words, right? If you say that,
Yeah.
it really says something. And then sabi din niya, this has evolved into as important a relationship as is possible
Yeah.
to have. So if the U.S. is our single most important relationship now,
Yeah.
then I get your point. You're saying that we should be bringing home more.
Put your money where your mouth
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yan
Yeah.
na nga. Bigla sinabi we're maintaining friendly ties. I am maintaining friendly ties with China. And in fact, I'm going to Beijing. Yun ang sinabi eh.
Yeah. And in fact, they're building an ammunitions hub in Subic that I guess is mostly going to go
Yan na nga.
towards missile stockpiles for the U.S. Hindi man lang sa atin, right? That's not for our defense.
At least yung bacon naging chicharon.
Ano ba yan?
Not even eh. Not you think, not even eh.
Okay.
Diba?
Let's...
Tama si Ate Amy, no? Yung assessment niya.
We gotta pivot now because our first guest is ready. Today we're talking about unfortunately the rains and the flooding. We've got Public Works Secretary Manny Bonoan. Welcome back to Storycon, Secretary Bonoan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you po.
Thanks for making
Hi,
time for us.
Secretary.
Good afternoon.
Yes po, good afternoon. Good afternoon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon po.
I mean, I guess there's really only one question that we're going to be talking about today, Sekno, which is, and this is something that we discuss nearly every year, which is, ano na po nangyari sa mga flood control projects? Because as we saw this week, konting ulan lang. I mean, now it's more relentless. The rain is more relentless. Pero at the start of the week, hindi pa ganun kagrabe. But still, we saw quite a bit of flooding in Metro Manila. So, what was your assessment this time?
Well, Metro Manila po is a little different actually because Metro Manila, well, we have several factors that contributes to the flooding in Metro Manila actually. Although the Department of Public Works and Highways is actually doing some engineering interventions, which we feel makakatulong naman sa solving yung flooding problems. Like we are now in the process of enhancing yung discharge capabilities of the mga old pumping stations. At this time, I think there are 35 pumping stations that are now being upgraded because of the limited, yung original limited discharge capacities na nito. We are enhancing them because to cater for yung mga climate change phenomenon and yung mga flood waters that are coming inside. The other thing po is actually, yung Pasig Marikina floodway program namin is still ongoing. That will cater for the flood waters that are coming from the Sierra Madre watershed areas po. Yan ang mga ganon na malalaking projects natin in Metro Manila. All these are in coordination with MMDA po.
Secretary, hindi naman bago halimbawa yung floodwaters coming from the Sierra Madre. Hindi rin bago itong monsoon season natin. Talagang isang tropical country tayo eh. Ang tanong lang, pag sinabi niyong nag-i-improve ang ating flood control system, what does that mean? Pag sinabi niyong nag-i-improve?
Well, let me put it this way. When we did not have actually yung Pasig Marikina flood control program natin, Metro Manila was affected po yung tidal fluctuations, no? Si Metro Manila pagka nag-high tide, Metro Manila Bay would be higher than Metro Manila. So we instituted some engineering interventions like mga revetment walls alongside Pasig River and all the way up to Marikina po, yung ganun ang ginagawa namin. Now, lately, yung San Miguel Corporation also undertook some major dredging activities along Pasig River and DPWH is also continuing the dredging operations in the Marikina River po at this point in time to enhance actually yung discharge capacity of Pasig Marikina River po.
Secretary, nabanggit.
Secretary, hindi, marami kasing mga flood control systems sa around the world which works. Halimbawa, sa Japan, 65% ng kanilang rainwater nakukuha, ilalagay nila sa mga huge water cisterns at saka water impounding. Ang Pilipinas ay less than 1% lamang ang nakukuha natin sa ating rainwater. So at the same time, yung rainwater nagagamit nila for agriculture, even for potable water, at nagka-create ng energy. Ang Copenhagen, nagkaroon sila ng 2011, ondoy level flooding. So gumastos sila ng 74 billion pesos para mag-create ng isang flood control system for the entire city ng Copenhagen. Hanggang ngayon, 14 years later, walang baha. Ibig sabihin, hindi ko maintindihan yung napakaraming flood control projects 9, 10,000. Kailangan kasi kaunti lang, di ba, na integrated. Bakit ang dami? Tsaka ang daming natin nagagastos. Tapos ganito pa rin yung sitwasyon sa flooding.
Well, we have to understand also that there are many waterways in the Philippines. Actually, ang kwan po namin dito is actually we are addressing it also on a major river basin program. yung mga there are 18 major river basins all over the country, and these are the focus of major river flood control programs that we are undertaking now. Well, not to mention, of course, marami rin po kami yung mga small water flood control projects that have actually provided yung immediate relief to low-lying areas. But at the same time, ito na nga po yung mga problema natin. I think one of the problems that we are facing right now is actually mga shallow, very shallow river beds. Because for the longest time, we understand that for many years, there has not been any silting and dredging of the rivers all over the country. So any downpour po because of the very low riverbeds, every time na merong downpour, nag-overflow po yung mga rivers natin into the low-lying areas. And this is yung po yung tinitignan po namin ngayon that we have actually to undertake yung mga dredging of mga rivers para yung carrying capacity nila will be more efficient. And the other thing, as you mentioned po, yung ang Department of Public Works and Highways now is integrating po yung sinasabi nating water impounding projects doon sa mga flood control projects natin. So it's not only flood control structures measured, but water impounding na rin po yung ginagawa namin where it is technically feasible. Para yung may impound na water, magagamit naman sa irrigation, water supply, and other uses po.
Secretary, magtataka mga tao, sinabi nyo na kulang sa dredging kasi yung mga budget allocation, actually, babanggitin ko na lang na sila Senator Lacson na nagsabi nito na katakot-takot actually yung pumupuntang pondo natin sa dredging, flood control, specifically dredging. Tapos, bakit gano'n? Tapos sinasabi nga niya, in fact, pinatigil daw nila ni Senator Tito Soto, and I think the 18th Congress yung mga allocation na yan. Kasi ang hirap-hirap daw i-audit ng dredging. Merong pondo pero hindi natutuloy yung dredging. Kaya ganyan, meron tayong ganyang problema. Ano po yung masasabi nyo yun sa ganong mga comment? That's from Senator Lacson. Sabi niya, titignan nga daw niya yung mga allocation niya, mga flood control, hindi lang naman sa DPWH, of course, pati sa mga LGU, ganon, titingnan daw nila. Dahil nga walang nakikitang dredging, ang hirap-hirap daw i-audit.
In relation sa tanong ni Ami, Secretary, halimbawa pinakita kahapon yung isang flood control project sa Cebu na ang ginamit ay kawayan, na walang bakal na ginamit. Although sa specifications, dapat may bakal na ginamit. So how do you audit itong mga flood control na ito para makita kung nagawa ba talaga? At how do we integrate itong libo-libong flood control projects into each other? No? Dapat kasi parang drainage yan. It should be integrated. Mahirap naman gumawa ng separate projects ang isang syudad tapos iba doon sa kabila. So, yun lang. How do you audit that? May nakasuhan na ba?
Palagay ko marami naman po. Let me just start po yung sinasabi natin na yung dredging issues pertaining po yung sinabi nga kanina naman. When before kasi, I think there were yung mahirap nga i-audit. So, but we cannot separate actually that issue yung kaysa sa technical requirement. There has to be a solution to it. Kagaya nito ngayon, what we are trying to implement is we are going to do it by administration. Kami na po ang gagawa. We will do it ourselves actually na sa department yung pag-dredge. And we want to equip our engineering offices na sila na po ang bahala sa mga dredging. Para we can assure them that hindi po yung napapansin po ng mga nakaraang taon, mga nalipas na taon na marami napapansin tungkol dyan sa hindi ma-audit na mga dredging program yata siguro noon. But at this time, ang kwan po namin dito is kailangan po mag-dredge, but we'll have to do it ourselves so that may iwasan po natin yung technical solution on the dredging has to be done.
Pero kailangan ba, it's possible to monitor the implementation kasi yun na nga ang sinasabi, ang hirap-hirap daw i-audit. Paano yung binabalak nyo to
Kami na
reassure
po.
the public na talagang dinidredge yan? May balak ba kayo mag-invite, for example, ng auditor siguro or some experts from civil society para pakibantayan nga to para makita nyo na talagang hinuhukay yung estero nyo o kaya yung river nyo?
Opo naman, kami naman po I think it's going to be done by administration. Kami na po ang gagawa. What seems to be the problem before is when it is done by contract, yun ang mahirap i-audit ng sinasabi natin. But we can audit ourselves.
Yeah.
If we do it ourselves, we'll be auditing our people. Actually, the work has been done properly po.
So, sorry, Secretary, what exactly do you mean by doing it by administration?
Then we will acquire our equipment. Our people will do it ourselves. By administration po. Ang ibig kong sabihin, it's the department itself. Our people in the department will be the ones to undertake po yung mga dredging programs po.
Okay, so you're bringing that function in-house, in short. So
Yes, po.
isn't that,
In-house.
so hindi nyo na po i-outsource sa mga contractors, but isn't that going to blow up your budget as well?
No, I think it's just a matter of having the equipment that we need actually for us to be able to implement po yung mga ganyang program. Of course, we might not be able to acquire all the dredging equipment that we may need kasi meron yung talagang specialized dredging equipment that we might have to engage also some private contractors dito, but we'll see to it na dapat auditable yung ginagawa po nila and
Right.
effective po yung ginagawa nila.
So
Pero-
when do you want this, when are you bringing this capability in-house?
Well, we hope we tried actually to kwansan itong 2025 program, but unfortunately we were not able to get the funds for it in 2025. So we'll try it again in 2026 po.
Pero Secretary, okay yung mga detalye na yan. But what framework or what strategy will it serve? Paano mahalaga kasi ano yung ating flood control strategy at saka framework? Halimbawa, just an example, what do we do with Laguna Lake? Because it's the biggest lake not only in the country but perhaps in the region. So it's just
Yes,
waiting there for water impounding. It's a natural water
Yes,
impounding, no? Pero kinakailangan mo lagyan ng dike, kailangan mo lagyan ng spillway. Halimbawa dati napindan spillway yan. Ngayon puro subdivision
Yes,
na tsaka mga bahay yan. Tapos kinakailangan ayusin yung drainage system ng Metro Manila para pumunta diyan, no? Yung dredging is just a small part of it.
Correct.
Ang mahalaga is the integration.
Yes,
So what I'm
yung-
asking is what is the framework? What is the strategy? Paano ngayon kasi parang bawat lugar may kanya-kanyang flood control project. Di ba kinakailangan may isa lamang para sa ating area?
Which is what happened when MMDA took over, right? The flood control projects.
Yes. Yun yung tanong ko, Secretary. What's the framework? What's the strategy for all these details?
Well, ang kwan nga natin dito is all the flood mitigation program should be holistic and integrated po
Yes.
sa lahat, no?
Yes.
And I think as we are saying, actually, engineering intervention is just one part of the solution. Actually, there are other components, like we have to address also environmental issues, land use issues, and of course, yung mga facilities.
And
that
the
has to be
elephant in the
provided
room,
also by the
politics.
local government.
Secretary, the elephant in the room is
that's part
politics.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it
Yeah.
siguro po. And sa amin po, on the technical side, ayun sinabi po ninyo that we are now constructing some floodgates in the Upper Marikina River. Actually, floodgates that will have to be used actually to divert actually yung floodwaters coming from Sierra Madre watershed. I-store muna natin sa Laguna Lake. When Manila Bay is the tide is high, and then release it when the low tide sa Manila Bay. Ito yung mga concept po na pinagagawa namin ngayon. And then meron pa kaming isang programa po, yung you had mentioned actually, we call it Paranaque Spillway Project. So that one of the major programs that we intend to implement po for Metro Manila Flood Control Program.
Secretary, how big a problem is politics, no? Kasi ipa-follow up ko na yung tinatanong kanina rin ni Ronald, kasi totoo naman yon. How big a problem sa integration ng mga programa natin sa flood control? Yung actually, patsi-patsi yung mga project natin bawat politiko gusto Hindi lang politiko na congressman, pati local government official, pati barangay nga How big a problem is that sa pagpaplano natin ng isang integrated flood control program? Napakahirap bang i-surmount yun o it's just a minor problem na pwede namang i-set aside at pwede pa rin kayong magplano ng maayos?
I am sure that everybody is concerned about yung flooding problems po. Even I'm sure that the mga politicians themselves are actually concerned about it. And all we have to do, palagay ko, is convince them that it has to be all integrated po. It has to be integrated and holistic yung approach natin. And this is what we're trying to do particularly in many parts of the country now. Kagaya ng mga river basin programs natin. Kasi it has to be done integrated lang. Kagaya niyan, yung mga...
Pwede ba i-legislation, Secretary?
Yes po.
Pwede ba i-legislate na wag makialam na yung ibang local at gawin na lang na, well, bibigyan pa rin siyempre ng input ng local, pero pwede bang gawin yun through legislation or through an executive order, for example, na pwede ba bayaan nyo na kami magplano dito at kung gusto nyo, tatanungin na lang namin kayo kung anong pangangailangan ng constituent nyo. You think, are there any effort in that direction para lang maayos natin yung pagpaplano natin, pati na yung pag-allocate ng pondo?
Pwede naman po. I think ang ganito ang ginagawa namin in the major river basins programs po namin. When we are dealing with yung external assistance from foreign lending institutions, ito po yung nagagawan po ng talagang real to goodness master plan in the first place, may feasibility study, master plan and everything. And these are actually carried into the entire program of government, which is part of the department, yung ganyan po. So, ito, what we can see here is it's all well accepted, and as we present it into yung every year na gumagawa kami ng budget namin, we present it to the legislators, and acceptable po ito kasi these are well planned, well programmed, and actually these are actually financed by foreign lending institutions, which I'm sure that they will not want it to be may mga interference po dito sa implementation.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's well planned, Secretary, but honestly, a lot of our kababayans are not feeling the effects, as I'm sure you know. Kasi yun nga, every time nagkaroon tayo ng ulan, whether it's a low pressure area or tropical storm, again, mabilis ka agad bumaha. But since you're talking about the budget, very quickly, last question, how much are you asking for in terms of for flood control projects in the 2026 budget?
I think in the 26 budget, if I'm not mistaken, it's just close to about 150 billion yata po.
So less than this year?
150, 170. 100, yes, because the budget of the department for 2026 is less than the budget in 2025.
Okay. So less than 150 billion. Kasama na po yun yung plano nyo na... Go ahead, Secretary.
Hindi ko lang po alam yung I am not there. I'm not very sure of the exact na number po, but yun po.
Okay, but it's less than the 2025 allocation.
Yes.
And with that amount, you're confident you're going to be able to do the dredging in-house, as you said? Yung pag-audit ng dredging projects?
we can start actually. We can start actually the program for dredging, the silting, and undertaking also other major flood control projects.
Okay.
The other thing that we want to emphasize now is because of the climate change phenomenon. We are now revising actually our engineering threshold parameters in our designs po kasi traditionally we had been using actually yung anywhere between 15 to 25 return period program yung design namin. Now because of climate change phenomenon, we are now going to use baka siguro mga 50-year return period, flood return period, or 100-year flood return period po. Yung mga ganon considerations.
50 po.
Yes, 50.
Okay, this is for when you raise funds with overseas investors, tama po?
Yes po.
Okay.
Secretary-
Secretary, ulitin ko lang ha, you are centralizing dredging projects, waterway dredging projects sa DPWH.
Yeah, by administration, by force account, yes po.
Okay.
So yan ang bago ngayong mangyayari. Magiging centralized na siya. Hindi na ibibigay
Yes,
sa
po.
sa mga local
Contractors, sa mga LGUs.
Kailan kaya natin makikita, Secretary, yung ganitong klaseng holistic, sabi nyo nga, integrated flood
Hindi,
controls.
umpisahan na siya, di ba?
Flood
Umpisahan na
control.
siya.
Umpisahan
Oh, but
na,
you have
sabi
to
niya.
present it eh.
Yeah.
What is it about?
Well,
No?
potentially
How do you
2026.
integrate everything? Drainage,
Yeah.
water
Correct.
impounding, yung mga ganun ba? Kailan nyo balak i-present yan, Secretary? Para makita naman ng tao
No,
na may nangyayari.
Gagaya po nito, dito sa Metro Manila, it's under the instructions of the President. Ganito na po yung ginagawa namin ngayon. I think it's a holistic approach. Like in Metro Manila po, under the World Bank Assisted Project, we are doing the engineering works and they have also to address yung waste management issues. They have to address yung land use issues.
Yeah.
And yung operational issues, yung ganun po, lahat ng components niyan are all integrated into the program that are now being financed by the World Bank.
Right. Okay. We want to...
The other thing in Metro Manila, unfortunately, the reason why we have yung mga flooding every now and then is because the drainage system in Metro Manila is an old, antiquated drainage system na in our assessment before, it's the capacity is no longer adequate.
Yeah.
And besides,
Yes.
70% silted na po.
Pero bawat
We don't-
syudad kasi may
Yeah.
sariling waste management system.
Okay.
Yun ang problema.
Unfortunately, that is all the time. I have to cut this interview short because we're way over time now. Thank you so much for talking to us today,
Okay.
DPWH Secretary Manny Bonon.
Salamat
Babalikan ka
sa-
po namin, sir.
Salamat, Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You
Salamat
are
po.
watching
Thank you po.
Storycon on One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
Welcome back. We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon. I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Ami Pamituan of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. And also joining us this afternoon, we've got Biko Saro, party list representative. Terry Ridon, Congressman, welcome to our set.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks for
Good
joining
afternoon,
us.
Congressman.
So
Hi, Congressman.
Hi. Good afternoon. Good to see
we're,
you again.
I didn't see Amu.
Hi, Ami.
We're talking to you today because you filed a House Resolution number 56 calling for the investigation into the Dolomite Beach project kasi sabi mo it is a contributing factor to the flooding. Tell us about it.
Well, I think the main person who actually said it was MMDA chair.
Ay, correct, yes. Yeah.
Artes. No? He said that because of the closure of the 3 drainage outfalls for the Dolomite Beach project, naimbudo yung pong tubig kasi it had to go to the sewage treatment plant. So I think that is the first reason why we filed the resolution investigating the project. Because first of all, we wanted to know, was it actually ever necessary in 2020 to undertake this project? No? Secondly, we wanted to talk about the price. No? And thirdly, this is it already, the environmental impact, particularly the flood impact to the city of Manila.
The price is 389 million pesos. Hindi mo na, I mean, actually I recall that as early as 5 years ago, you had been
Yes.
making noise about this. Back then, you were with InfraWatch.
Yeah.
You were already criticizing the project. Did you ever find out saan napunta yung 389 million?
Ay, di napunta dun sa buhangin.
Hindi, yung buhangin was a fraction of the price.
Yeah, but the entire thing
Yeah.
is basically for beach nourishment. So I think
Hindi
very important to, firstly, on the question of price, whether or not there was it is a reasonable pricing compared to other beach nourishment projects in the country and in other places. No? So very important to ask that question as well. But I think the first question is, was it ever actually necessary? Because they have been stating and they've been defending that this is in pursuit of the Supreme Court continuing mandamus to rehabilitate Manila Bay. But the problem actually is, it's a very specific objective. The objective is to improve the water quality in Manila Bay. So the other projects that they were doing was basically to clear the esteros, to relocate families within the esteros. Third would be to put up more sewage treatment plants. Basically, very clear, improving the water quality of Manila Bay. So the question to them then and the question to them today is, did the Dolomite Beach project actually clean up the water of Manila Bay? And I'm quite certain the answer to that is no.
Or even...
Kung sakasakali nga na yun ang lumabas sa investigation nyo and you find something anomalous about the project sa funding or sa implementation, ano yung magiging recommendation kaya kung sakasakali? Pagigiba nyo ba yung beach?
Hindi naman ho. I think andyan na ho yun. No? So may commitment naman po yung DNR na sa totoo lang, wala na ho silang refill na gagawin. I think as early as 2021, 2022, commitment na po ng DNR po ito. So, but very important, in terms of accountability, lahat po na nag-originate, nagplano, nag-implement po nito, at the very least, parang graft po yung tinitignan natin dito. Kasi ang pinag-usapan natin sa graft ay grossly disadvantageous to government. So, bakit siya grossly disadvantageous to government? Una, it was never in the NEDA master plan. Ibig sabihin, who was the wise guy who basically placed it as a line item in the 2020 budget? No? So, secondly, ayun na nga, they were promising the nation, no, this would resolve coastal flooding. How in the world is it possible that you promise coastal flooding and today, it is actually contributing to flooding? Diba? Because of the habagat and all of the deluge of water going into Manila Bay. So I think on those two questions pa lang ho, parang it is clear that the contract is disadvantageous to
It's
government.
not part of the NEDA master plan, yes, but apparently they got special provision and they didn't need an ECC, an environmental compliance certificate, to construct it. Tama po ba yun?
Tama yun. They were saying na para meron silang certificate of non-coverage. Pero ibang bagay pa yun eh. Kasi for example, yung when you do like an interagency master plan, talagang hindi lang DNR ang kausap doon. Lahat ng mga ibang ahensya, they have to agree that these are the things that you actually have to do. And to be fair to DNR, outside of the Dolomite Beach project, they were actually doing like what I said already. Diba? They were doing very specific work to clean up Manila Bay, to improve the water quality of Manila Bay. And again, ang question talaga, ba't ito pinalusot ng 2020? Kung wala nga clearly, it is not going to clean up the quality of water going out of Manila Bay.
Actually, in terms of budget, umabot siya ng almost $500 million Hindi lang siya yung original budget.
Hindi lang siya
Paano
389.
dinadagdagan siya ng sand, etc. Ikalawa ay...
Because the water washes away some of the sand, so kailangan mo dagdagan.
Kaya nga sabi ng DNR, titigil na yon. No? Ngayon. Ikalawa ay, ano yung nabarahan? Yung tatlong dapat daanan.
Drainage.
Oo. Ano yung mga nabarahan na yan? Paano yan bubuksan at this point? Dahil nga nakakontribute siya sa flooding.
Hindi, binubuksan nga nila yon at this point. No? Pero, again, the question really is, yung 389 million, pwede sana natin ginamit yun sa ibang bagay to actually, for programs, activities, projects, na talaga lilinisin ho yung tubig. Hindi ba yan sana nagamit sa dagdag na sewage treatment plants kung kalidad ng tubig yung pinag-uusapan po natin dito?
And actually, these were the COVID years when it was constructed.
Well, to be fair...
When we were desperately looking for money, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, nung po nga naipasok yan sa line item, hindi pa naman natin alam na may COVID noon. But again, the question is really, even without COVID, ang pinag-usapan natin dito, was it really necessary? Kung hindi naman talaga niya malilinis po yung tubig ng Manila Bay.
Yung possibility ng
Congressman,
graft
you're saying
charges.
pinabubuksan niya na yung culvert.
Yung graft
Pinabubuksan
charges.
niya na yung culvert kasi meron namang intervention dyan, di ba? If you're going to build something like that, pwede namang ituloy-tuloy pa rin yung mga drainage. Pwede pa siyang i-connect para tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung tamang pagde-drain para nga hindi mag-flood. So ginagawa ba yan ngayon? You were saying binubuksan nila yan ngayon?
Hindi, ngayon po, syempre,
Yung nabarahan?
supposedly, nag-imbudo ho to a sewage treatment plant para nga ho, malinis yung tubig going out of Manila Bay. So, eto nga, I think what the City of Manila and MMDA is doing now is bubuksan na lang ho itong mga saradong mga labasan para hindi ho ma-overwhelm yung sistema. Pero again, babalik ko tayo sa question, ba't hindi niya naisip nung ginagawa niya yung design para linisin po yung Manila Bay? Kasi alam niyo na may 3 lagusan eh. Ba't hindi niyo doon linagay sa bunganga ng lagusan na yan, yung panglinis po ng tubig na yan?
Yung possibility ng graft charges to sa concerned individuals na nagtulak niyan, yung mga wise guys, no? Anong status nun?
I think in the course of the investigation, I think we have to ask, for example, DBM who were the persons that actually made the proposal to include it in the line item? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng parang lumabas na lang ng parang bula po yung proyekto na yan at nasa line item na po ng DPWH. No? So, some person actually made that pitch, made that proposal.
So, hindi
Who
yan
is
yung in charge do sa project. Paano may DNR USEC na in charge dyan eh?
Hindi, well, we'll learn about it in the course of the investigation.
Was that Yusek Benny Antiporda?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we will see.
You're right, at one point he was the voice defending the Dolomite
At
project.
hindi lang, nakikipag-away siya sa mga critics.
Well, to be fair to him, he's a spokesperson po kasi of DNR. No? So, whether he was like the project manager or project originator,
know yet.
we have to know in the course of the investigation. But ultimately, syempre, command responsibility lies on the Secretary of the DNR also. Kasi syempre, kumbaga, hold that po niyan bilang hepe po ng ahensya.
But again, if the project did not require an ECC to begin with, DNR ba ang primarily liable for this?
Irrespective of, ibang requirement yung ECC eh. Ibang requirement yung EIS. So, pwedeng meron siyang certificate of non-coverage, pero it doesn't remove the fact na, una, hindi yan kasama sa master plan. At pag hindi yan kasama sa master plan, bakit yan nandyan? Kasi yung ECC po, para sa mga kababayan natin, sa dulo na ho ng proyekto yan eh. Kung go or no go yan bilang wala siya masyadong impact sa environment. So, ibang bagay po yun. Pero ang question natin, pagka NEDA master plan, very specific objectives. Linisin yung kalidad ng tubig. Kung hindi kasama dyan sa mga proyekto na maglilinis ng kalidad ng tubig, wala yan dapat dyan.
Congressman, ang chairman ng NEDA board is the President of the Philippines.
Correct.
Are you also looking at the possible culpability of Rodrigo Duterte? Kasi dinipensa din niya yan at that time.
Many
At
times.
hindi naman itutuloy yan kung hindi niya yan inaprubahan. That's a very controversial project.
And I remember one of those times that he defended it, he said, well, kailangan ng mga tao na pupuntahan kasi COVID, you need open spaces, you need these types of public open spaces to go to. So, yeah.
Well, like what I had earlier stated, well, this investigation is not about Rodrigo Duterte. No? I think he has far more serious problems today than worry about the inquiry on the Dolomite Beach project. I think extrajudicial killings at The Hague is far more serious and far more important.
Crimes against humanity.
Crimes against humanity, far more important, far more concerning than this Dolomite inquiry.
Tsaka naaprubahan ito even before COVID.
Yeah.
No? So, yung afterthought na lang yan eh. Paano ito makakatulong dun sa mga kwan.
Yeah.
Dahil naaprubahan siya before.
Oo.
So yung narrative na this is a good place to be because COVID, because pandemic, that came after.
Kabuntot siya nung clean up ng Boracay remember? Ganon yan Ganon yung takbo nung ano noon
What would you say to people who say you're politicizing this? As in, some people are saying this is a diversionary tactic. Bakit mo pinipin yung blame on the flooding to the previous government?
Well, una sa lahat, like what I stated already, this is not about the former president. No, this is about making accountable previous environmental officials on the Dolomite Beach project, which was never in the NEDA master plan. But secondly, syempre, people have been saying, why aren't you talking about the flood control projects and why aren't you talking about Manila Bay rehabilitation? Actually, to be very honest about it, we will also reach that point. No? So I think it's a real concern today, particularly because of the flooding, and more importantly, because of, I guess, the good example of Marikina. Kasi in Marikina, wala ho masyadong... merong mga na-evacuate, pero compared
There wasn't
to
massive flooding
the
like
previous situation, parang hindi ho ganun katindi. Mabilis ho yung paglabas ng tubig. So, I think it's a concern not just in Metro Manila, but in various parts of Luzon at the moment, kasi dito po yung matitindi po talaga yung tinatamaan ng bagyo. Pero yun, pangalawa, but yung Manila Bay Reclamation, din yung pinag-usapan, we will also reach that point. Kasi there is a real logic and there's probably a real science on bakit pinapayagan po itong mga ongoing and future reclamation project. We would like to be able to see what is the actual impact to flooding nito pong mga proyekto din pong ito.
You're going to come up against some powerful interests there. But actually, just before you, we were talking to DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan, who said, and we were pressing him a bit on the dredging projects. Now, it looks like they're running into some trouble there in terms of, completing the project, auditing them to make sure that it was effective. So ngayon, ang suggestion is to bring it back in-house. So that's maybe something that is centralized ulit under DPWH. So I don't know, maybe that's something that you guys can look into as well, yung dredging.
Well, I think the question on dredging has always been whether or not auditing it is actually easy. No? So,
It's not. It's hard.
Yun na nga. So,
Yeah.
and there are so many, it's how hard that there's so many jokes about it. No? But again, I think we have to equip the COA ho on the tools, or if they need like actual equipment, no, or equipment to basically be able to check whether or not these are legitimate dredging projects. They should be able to. We should be able to provide the funding for it.
Yeah.
Last question, Congressman. Being head of InfraWatch, paano mo nakikita yung logic ng 9,000 to 10,000 flood control projects? Well, it should be just one.
Nasa 9 to 10,000 na ba? Last year was
Last year.
5,500.
Yung ginawa. Pero yung before that, 9,000 siya.
Well, again, kailangan natin maglinaw po. Una sa lahat, yung po malalaking mga ilog, meron yung sarili-sarili pong mga master plan. So, yung Metro Manila, Marikina, Pasig area, meron yan. Yung Cagayan Valley, meron. So, within different regions, gumagawa po yung DPWH together with foreign partners nung pong master plan. No? Wala tayong debate na importante ho yung flood control. Pero very important din ho, bago umabot sa flood, yung pong ibang aspects, so deforestation, pagmimina, yan ho yung mga ibang aspeto ho ng pagbabaha ho natin na kailangan din ho natin tutukan. Kasi nga kung wala ng puno talagang mabilis ho yung pagbagsak po ng tubig. No? So, I think dapat tutukan din po natin yun.
That's why it has to be holistic and integrated. Wala pa ako nakikitang gano'n na plano.
Wala naman talaga for Metro Manila. Even
Iyan
Sec
nangyayari,
even Sec Bonoan admitted it.
Hindi, just to be very clear, no? Yung mga flood control proposals at various kasi iba-iba naman po yung depende sa laki ng flood control project. It should always be within the actual master plan that was for the particular region, for the particular area. Hindi pwedeng parang lumalabas ho tayo.
Okay, we're gonna have to leave that there. I'm so sorry we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, Bicol our party list Congressman Terry Redon, and still with InfraWatch, right?
Paano na palabas na yan?
Palabas na, but formerly convener of InfraWatch.
And former host of ATM.
Don't mention it. It's other station.
Thank you for joining Storycon today. Ami Pomituan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.